Hello, my name is Owen Morin. I'm with Troop 418, Greenfield, New York, and I'm working with the Veterans Breakfast Club as a part of my Eagle project where I'm interviewing veterans. Here I am with family friend TJ, and I guess we'll be interviewing him. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
As my current self or just in general?
In general.
um 44 years old, joined the military at 25, did 2 tours in Iraq. I got 3 kids and I'm married. I spend my my spare time, and I get a lot of therapeutic work out of coaching kids in football.
When did you join the service?
uh 2004.
What
So
inspired you to join?
I was working odd end jobs at the time, not really getting anywhere. A lot of my friends at the time were getting into bad habits, and I knew if I continued down the path I was on, that's the road I was going to take. So one day I just told my mother, I said, I'm going to join the military. Everybody thought I wasn't going to make it, and I went through with it. Met a recruiter, and I actually shipped out for basic training on my mother's birthday. So it was pretty good.
Did 9/11 impact your choice at all?
Yeah, because when I initially joined, I wanted to go to Afghanistan. But like I said, once you sign up, you have no choice where you go. And at the time, Iraq was a lot more volatile than Afghanistan. So that's where we were sent. But it definitely made an impact on my life. I remember 9/11 like yesterday. Like I remember everything I did that morning. I remember everything I did that afternoon. It was a very impactful thing, I guess you could say, in my life. And then when I saw the invasion, in Iraq, I was like, that's something. The discipline and the structure and everything are things that I was lacking in my life at the time. So I decided to go sign up.
Did you come from a military family at all?
My side of the family, no. My stepfather, my uncle was in the Air Force, and his other brother was in the Army. So it wasn't a big impact. Like I said, it was more about changing my lifestyle in the way that I was headed in life. And I knew that there was things. I always did good with structure. So I knew it was going to be a good benefit to myself.
Did boot camp's rigid schedule help you fix that out?
Yes, that, and being probably, I was the second oldest guy in boot camp. Like I said, I was 25. And I adapted quickly, and I was a lot more mature than the other guys. So I knew what to do, what not to do. And it definitely set the tone, because you have no choice. You're up when you're up. You're doing what you're doing. As long as you keep your mouth shut and you have the right uniform on, your day is going to be fine. So yeah, it definitely helped a lot.
Do you have any memories from boot camp? Pranks you pulled, funny stories, bad days?
Yeah, there was times, I guess funny stories would be like I said, I was 25. So on Friday nights, we'd all be in bed. We had 55 guys in one room. So we'd all be there. It'd be 9, 10 o'clock at night. And being, the older guy, the funny guy I thought I was, I would start screaming out, "Hey guys, where's your girlfriends?" I said, it's Friday night. You guys are all laying here in bed together. Where's your buddy? I bet you your buddy's hanging out with your girlfriends. And they would get all, "Oh, Chase, that's not funny." Da, da. And I would just sit there and I'd laugh. It was, yeah, it was good. It was good. And then and one of the other things that stuck out was when we had to get CS gas. So you have to you go in with your whole unit. So we had 55 guys in there. You all line up, they drop the gas canister, and each person has to say their name, rank, and serial number, which is your social security number. And you can't leave until the whole unit does it. So by the time we got through it, people were coming out, and I mean, everything inside your body's coming out of your face. So if you got a cold, it's slopping down. You got drool, vomit, people, and I came out laughing. And my platoon sergeant was like, "What is so funny, Chase? You want to go back in there? Is this funny to you?" And I was just because it was just such a weird feeling having your insides burning and like literally every snot and dripping out of your face. And I was just laughing so hard. And I was like, "No, drill sergeant, no, I'm fine. I'm fine." And then turned around and watching kids puking. And it was a sight to see.
After boot camp, did you do any live combat deployments?
Yeah, I did 2 tours in Iraq.
Okay.
In 2005 to 2006, and then 2007 to 2008.
What were those like, and what was your job?
My job going in the military was, again, when I signed up, there's only one job I wanted. I wanted to be an infantryman. So I remember my recruiter trying to talk me into other things because I had a high ASVAB score. But my life goal was to either do 20 years in the military or come out and become a police officer. So that was a good transition for that MOS. So what my job was, and then my second day of boot camp, we're sitting there, and my drill sergeant's walking around going, "You're mine, you're mine, you're mine," to different kids, and I'm like, "Oh shit, well, what did I do already? This is like the second day." And it turns out because our GT score, which is like your mathematical intelligence score, kind of, we were picked to be mortarmen. So it's just a different offshoot of infantry. You learn all the same stuff as they do, but now you have a specialty, which is indirect fire. So it's a mortar tube, a 60 and 81 and 120, depends on the size. You do, you reach out and touch people from a distance. But when I was in Iraq, the first tour, I was in Baghdad, so we couldn't shoot the mortars because we're in a large city and there's helicopters. You have to clear the skies in order to fire these things. And my second tour, I was in Mosul. Again, I think it was like the second largest city in Iraq. And again, we weren't allowed to use them. So all we did was, I was just basic infantry guy, door kicking, all that kind of stuff.
What was the most challenging about that?
About my job in general, or about deployment?
Job.
Most challenging thing was just is that every time you left, every time you went out of the wire, and I can tell you, my first tour, maybe we were there for a little over a year. We probably had maybe 5 days that we didn't go out. So it was always like the most challenging thing was always staying mentally prepared, always staying cognitive of your surroundings, always knowing, that things happen in a second, like literally, and just being able to, react to those things, or just the worst part is waiting, because it's coming and you don't get to choose when and where it happens. They always chose. And so you're just waiting and waiting. And then once it happened, then as weird as it sounds, it was a relief, because okay, I made it through that one, and then you just prepare yourself all over again.
Do you remember any particularly difficult days that you could recall?
There was a lot of them. Probably, the hardest days were, when you lost somebody, when not even, an injury, or, if they got KIA. Like, my first introduction to any of that was February 26, 2005. And in order to know this story, I had to go back to the day before. So the day before, we went out on a mission. We're doing left seat, right seat rides, which is we were only there 8 days, learning our new area in Baghdad. So with left seat, right seat ride, you're training with the unit you're replacing, right? So in the Humvee, there's 2 of them and 2 of you. They're showing you, this is your area, this is where you go, this is where you don't go, this is where we've met the most resistance, this is where, they're showing you everything you need to know about where you're going to spend the next couple months of your life. And the night before, we were sitting in the chow hall, And my buddy Che, he had they gave us plastic forks, plastic cutlery, and we're all sitting there eating. We're bullshitting. Talking about, we were all young. Well, I was 25, but everybody I served with was 20, 21, 7, 8, 18, 19. So, we're all excited to be able to go out and do our job. This is what we've been training for. This is what, we haven't been sleeping for. This is, when I was in Georgia, we were sleeping in the swamps, like legit. My platoon sergeant wouldn't allow us to sleep in tents. We weren't allowed to use rain gear. Like he wanted us to be, true infantrymen. So we're sitting at the chow hall and all of a sudden my buddy Che, he just got really angry and he slammed his food down and he walked out. And we're all sitting there wondering, what the heck happened. So after eating, we go back to the barracks and, asking him what's going on. And he was from South Korea. He joined the military. His dad ran an import-export business. Literally, he was a millionaire. But he didn't want to do that. So despite what his dad thought, he joined the military to prove himself. He didn't want to inherit a company and just be given things. So when we got back to the barracks, we're at Che, what's the matter? What's going on, bud? He's like, I broke my fork. We're like, you broke your fork? What does that mean? A plastic fork. He said, no, you don't understand. In my culture, this is a very bad thing. This is something bad is going to happen. And of course, we're like, oh, bullshit, relax, guy, nothing's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So the next day, February 26th, we go out with our left seat, right seat rides, and we got 3 Humvees. And I'm driving the second Humvee. So I had a Humvee in front of me and a Humvee behind me. And we're driving around, learning our new area, this and that. And we stop. And when we stop, my platoon sergeant decides to switch out. He had the medic in the third vehicle. And Che was in the first vehicle. So he switched those two out. He put the medic in the first vehicle and Che in his vehicle. So, because there's certain times the insurgents had different tactics they would use. Like at nighttime, if you had in your vehicle, we had these things called, what are they called? It's like a computer. It's a computerized map of your area. Like you can zoom in, zoom out. It's a satellite thing, but it glows at night. So they knew if they saw a convoy going by and the light was lit up, that's where the main guy was. That's where the head sergeant was. So they would blow up that vehicle. Or if you got a convoy coming, they would hit the first vehicle because then the other two got to stop. So you're stuck in a kill point. But at this particular time, they were telling us, the guys that we were riding with is they like to hit the third vehicle. So that's why he switched the medic out so that, if anything happened to us, that the medic wasn't in that vehicle. So as we're driving out, we all get back in the vehicles and we're driving out and we're going through a ravine where it's like this. So there's a little road on top, but on the sides, it's like a 20-foot drop and it's just water on both sides. And as we're going over, there's dirt piles along the way. And, they like to hide IEDs in dirt. They'll hide them anywhere. They actually are extremely intelligent when it comes to these things. So we're driving and all of a sudden I hear this huge explosion and I'm driving it and I was like, what was that? What was that? So I look back to my gunner and I'm tapping my gunner. And I said, do you see Sergeant Hahn, who was the vehicle behind us? And he says, no, I don't see him. And then he told me afterwards that he looked up in the air and the vehicle was like 25 feet in the air. So when it crashed down, we slammed on our brakes. The front vehicle slammed on our brakes. And when it crashed down, we had to check the side, jumped out. I had my guys jump out, check the sides for secondaries and stuff. And then we pulled back. And when we got back to the vehicle, two of the guys, Sergeant Hahn and Private Miller, were all their uniforms were all ripped apart and everything, but they were okay. Somehow they didn't get any damage. They got some minor bruises and cuts, I could say. But at the same time, the gunner and the guy Che that replaced the medic, they both died on the scene. So it was like, it was a very, I talked about this. I've been in therapy for this for a long time, so it's easy for me to talk about this in a way, but it's still sad, but like, it was a very eye-opening experience to how quickly things can change. Just 5 minutes before that, I was talking to both of them, and and then to know they're gone and they're not coming back, and and then it all hits me. Like the night before, he was talking about a fork, like a fucking fork, and all of a sudden, this happens, and it's like, so the rest of the tour, none of us would eat with forks, with plastic forks. We wouldn't touch plastic anything. Like it was like taboo. Like it was weird. It was a very eye-opening day because and again later on in different times during a deployment and during other deployments, like you learn it doesn't matter how religious you are. It doesn't matter how much you study or how good of a soldier you are or how good of a person you are. Like over there's no discrimination. Like when it's your turn, it's your turn. You have zero choice about it. So that's where like the whole waiting for it comes from, because it's coming. Like something's gonna happen. You don't know what, but and then when it's over with, you go, okay, I made it through this one, and so did my guys. So, and at the end of the day, that's all it came down to was, as sad as it was, it's not about that flag on your shoulder. The moment you drive out and while you're out there till you come back, it's all about the guys next to you. And that's what your whole life becomes.
Were you in touch with the medic at all? Like as a friend?
Yeah, afterwards, that was really a traumatizing experience for him. He made it the rest of the deployment, but then he got out right afterwards. He's we all remain in contact. Like I said, I can pick up my phone. Can you hold on 1 second?
Yeah. It's all right.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we all kept in contact. We all still keep in contact. That's one of the things about being over there and going through these events with each other is like you've been through stuff that no one else would ever understand. Like they really, as much as I explain it, and it was very hard for me to talk to other people about it because like when I tell a story or recall an event, like I want you to feel it like I did. But it's very selfish of me because unless you've been there, like you really can't wrap your head around it.
Yeah, I understand that. I could never know what it's like unless I went through it. Was that your first or second deployment when that happened?
That was my first deployment. That was like I said, like 8 days in.
Yeah.
So it was a real eye opener of, oh shit, this is what it's gonna be like. This is how it's gonna be. Like, like before that, like, we were what's the word? We were ready to go. Like, let's go. Let's do this. And then after that, it became more like, whoa, okay, all right, now I understand. But it took an experience like that to calm down. It's not a video game. There's no reset button.
And how you said you served, what was that, 2006 through 8 was your first deployment or something?
5 to 6. January 2005 to January 2006.
Okay. And what was it like coming home from that?
It was extremely difficult because you don't transition out. You don't like you fly from Bayat, which was Baghdad International Airport, to Kuwait, and then you jump on another plane from Kuwait to Germany or Ireland. They refuel and then you fly home. And then the moment you land, you're put on a bus, you go back to the base, and within 15 minutes you're with your family and you have a 3-day vacation. Like, So there's no down period. There's no let's talk about what happened. There's no, it's like, here you go, back in society. And it's, when you're used to driving around with your head on a swivel and, every little thing can kill you and everybody can kill you. And then all of a sudden, here you are back in happy land society. And it's like, what's behind that garbage can? What's that car doing? Why is this happening? These people are too damn close to me. Like we had a lot of, I don't want to say rules, but we had a lot of protections in place to keep us safe. Like when we're driving down the road, we don't allow cars near us. You got to be 200-300 meters behind us, or else we're going to fire a warning shot. Like we come through in the middle, in the front, like you got to get off the side of the road, get out of our way, like the police officer. And then you come back here, and people are, zing, zing, and, you got cars popping out from the side, and this and that, and it just your nervous system. It doesn't realize that these things aren't danger anymore. And it was hard coming back the first time. It took a lot of readjusting, a lot of time to readjust. Certain noises would bring back memories, smells would bring back memories. It was difficult. It was really difficult.
How long did it take to re-socialize after your second tour?
My second one or my first one?
Second.
After my second tour, probably I could say I'm still not. I still don't like crowds. I still don't. I still have anxiety. I still have depression. I still have nightmares. I still don't like certain situations. I'm a lot better than I was, but I'm nowhere near who I was. Who I was. But that's also when I got out the second tour, I did. I want to say 10, 11 years of therapy twice a week, one-on-one. And out of those, I did group therapy once or twice a week. So that was my job for a lot of years, for almost a decade.
Despite that,
trying to take care of myself. So, cause I got, I had kids and a wife and,
Despite that, would you do it all over again?
Yeah, because again, the brotherhood that I have right now, I could pick up my phone right now and call my buddy Pete, who lives in California, and he'd be on a plane to come if I needed help. Or my buddy Gazzetti, who lives in Ohio, he'd be here in a minute. Or Mullins, who lives in Ohio, he'd be here in a minute. I got friends in Texas. I got friends in Florida, and we'd all do the same for each other. Like you ever needed anything, and if I got it, you got it. Just the other day, one of my buddies we have a group chat, on our phones, and the one guy was asking he needed like a couple bucks to make it to payday, and I sent him $100, like without even a question. Don't ever bother paying me back. Don't nothing. Here you go, brother. If I got it, you got it, and they would do the same for me. So in that aspect, it's something that I can never replace. I have a childhood friend who I've been literally best friends with since kindergarten. So 40 years I've been best friends with him, and our relationship is still a second tier compared to the relationship that I have with them.
Are there any other lessons you pulled away from the Brotherhood? From that, it's just again, what's that? Stuff you still live by.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Explain it again. Give me a different version of the question.
Any other takeaways that you apply in your life here in the Americas that you learned from over there?
Things aren't always what they seem. That's for sure. you know, a lot of the times, my first tour, when we, you know, we'd get attacked or a suicide bomber or a V-bid, you know, when they load up vehicles with explosives and drive them at you, the people that did it, they weren't bad people. They were forced to do it. You know, if someone comes into your house in the middle of the night and says, you know, if you don't go do this tomorrow, we're going to kill your whole family. You know, so they really have no choice but to go through with an act that they normally wouldn't have done. So it's not, you know, I try to look at things from different angles, different ways. You know, just because somebody did something doesn't mean that's who they are. You know, sometimes there's, and you know, not to that, even to that extreme here, but, you know, there's other circumstances that led to, you know, why they would do something. So I try not to judge everyone, you know, based upon a first conclusion, a first assumption of someone. And when you're over there, like, you know, you're like, I don't mind waiting in line at Walmart. I don't, you know, if I can stand in line at Walmart for, you know, I stand there for 4 days, it's better than this, you know, the little things in life, you know, and you try to hang on to them when you come back, but how quickly you fall back into that same category of, you know, come on, lady, let's go, you know, I'm in a hurry, da 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 da. So trying to hang on to the little life lessons you learned over there, you know, how precious time is, how precious people are, you know, how quickly, you know, someone could leave your life, and, you know, say goodbye to people when they leave, you know, and tell people that means something in your life while they're here that they do, because you don't know, you know, they could get in a car and get in a car crash. Anything could happen. And the last thing that you want, you know, is to say, you know, I wish I had that time. You know, all my friends that I lost over there, or and acquaintances, you know, people that I knew but didn't, you know, it's gone in a second, and you don't get a chance to say goodbye. And it can be something that sits heavily on you for a long time, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things I try to reinforce. But again, you know, you come back to this life, and it's some of those things just fade away.
Do you have a really fun memory from the service?
Just little moments, little things, like on birthdays. You know, one of the pictures I sent you was a guy tied up with shaving cream. Like, on your birthday, you got assaulted. Like, that's what happened to you. I remember my first birthday in Iraq. I woke up and I'm getting beaten on, and like literally just haven't even opened my eyes. I'm getting punched and hit, and I'm like, get off me, da da da. And I look, and there's my platoon sergeant, like in E7, like beating the crap out of me on my birthday. Like, you know, like we would tie each other up. If we were back home, we'd zip tie your hands together, put you in the tub, you know, dump stuff on you, just humiliate you. And it was fun, you know. Then afterwards we go drinking, and but always letting you know, I don't know, it was just a ceremonial thing, you know. We did it to people that we loved. So, and I got to meet a lot of people from different parts of the country, some from different countries, period, and learned about their cultures and, you know, their way of life. And so that was a lot of good memories. Just learning about different people. Just little stupid things we would do. Like, we had tasers for a while. They took away our tasers because we tased each other. Just a bunch of little stupid random things, you know. And I'm glad I have a lot. Most of my stuff is at my grandparents' house. I have multiple video. I mean, you know, dozens of videos and hundreds of pictures and stuff. So, I mean, it's always good to look back on them, and it'll bring back times of, you know, having fun and goofing around and just enjoying life, I guess.
What was it like working with the Iraqi military or any of the others you worked with?
Um, it was interesting. We during our first tour, we worked at Mathana Air Base. We trained the Iraqi Army for a little over a month. Um, they had some interesting perspectives on life. They had some interesting, what's the word I'm looking for? Body care issues, I guess you would say. They didn't believe in toilet paper. Yeah. But they were, you hit and miss. A lot of them that we worked with or trained with were very lazy, very not into, they wanted a paycheck more than they wanted, to defend their own country. But then at the same time, like there were bad ones. Insurgents would sneak in, and sign up as part of the army. There was multiple times, we'd be in a convoy and a police officer would drive by and he'd see him flash his lights. And then like a minute or two later, we'd get hit by an IED or come under fire. So there were some bad ones. There were some good ones. During my second tour in Mosul, we worked with this unit, the Triple Deuce. And these guys were straight savages. Like they were insane. I wish I had a picture. I have some pictures on my other stuff, but the general of their company had a falcon, a bird, like this big giant bird that he carried with him everywhere. But they were legit. They were there to help out their country. They were there when we would go capture somebody and that's where we would bring them. The insurgents would be scared to death because they knew they weren't getting let loose. There was a lot of times. I mean, I can remember one guy in particular. We used to go after high value targets, which, they'd be like, this guy's in command of this, or this guy's, an associate of this person. So we'd go out in the middle of the night, hit a compound, hit something, take them, bring them back. And a lot of the times they would have money. So depending on who we handed them off to, if we didn't keep them ourselves, if we handed them off to certain army units or the police, they would just, give the guy a couple $100 and they'd be out the next day. So then we'd have to go get him again, and then we'd have to go get him again. But with the Triple Deuce, like they knew the moment that we brought them there, they weren't getting out. They were there to stay. We also worked with my second tour. We worked in coordination with Badouche Prison, which was just west of Mosul. But that's where the Mujahideen were kept. They were a lot of high value targets, like some bad dudes. So the guards that we worked with there were really good. They were nice. But it was hit and miss. You never knew what you're going to get. You trust them to an extent. You trust them not. There were some times, and I was just telling a buddy the other day, we'd be in a firefight and the Iraqi army would be there with us, and you turn around and they're gone. Like they would literally run down the street, jump in a cab, and go home. I'm like, well, why am I here fighting for your country, and you're jumping in a cab and driving away, guy? Like, well, what is that? Like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like, if we ever did that, that'd be desertion, and that'd be the end of it. But there were some good times and some bad times with them.
What was it like with the citizens in your relationship?
Again, it depended on where you were. In Mosul, there was a large Christian community, so they were very happy to see us all the time because not only were they being attacked by the Muslims in general, let alone the insurgents and everybody else. So they were very, very nice. It depends on where you were. Again, I remember, like, what you talk about fond memories. I remember we had to do these missions where they were having a lot of dignitaries in Baghdad. So we had to put a cordon, it's called. Like, we had to encircle the area to make sure nobody come in, nobody come out, and protect the area. And this was like day 4 of like a 17-hour missions every single day. And it was so tiring. And the people would bring out chai, which is like hot tea. It's like hot sugar water. It was actually pretty good. But one time I ended up in one of their houses, and I'm sitting on the couch with their kids watching Tom and Jerry. And I'm like, I was just laughing. I'm like, look at that. Here I am in the middle of Baghdad, sitting on the couch with a bunch of little kids, and we're watching Tom and Jerry. It was funny, But last thing I would have thought I would have done when I was in Iraq. But for the most part, a lot of the people were good. They liked us. They wanted us there. They understood, why we were there. They wanted their freedom. They wanted to, move forth from what Saddam had there, regardless of, we could talk about for days, chemical weapons or whatever else was there. There's some things I can't talk about, but for the most part, they wanted us there. A lot of them wanted us there. And like I said, I got the privilege of my first tour being part of the first Iraqi elections where they elected the president and their Congress and their stuff. And then I had a chance to escort the actual Constitution from the Green Zone to the BIOP. And it was, it was something, we were joking around, we could always tell our kids, that we were part of this. We helped secure freedom in this country. So it was again, it had its moments with the people. Most of them were there for us.
Do you recommend young people joining the military?
I recommend at this present point in time, maybe. But overall, yes, but I would choose my job wisely. Like again, I got into it to get out of the role that I was doing in life and what I wanted to do in life. Because there is plenty of opportunities in the military to transition out into the real world sector and enjoy a job and make a lot. To be quite frankly, make a lot of money. So choose what you want to do wisely, and and don't do it just for they're going to give me a free college education. Like the education you get in the military, to me, is a better education than one you're going to get in a university. So overall, I would say yes. And again, each branch of service offers different things. Depends on what you want to do in life, and it just choose wisely of what you want to go in and do.
How has the military changed during your service? Like equipment you can share or life in general?
Has it changed since I got out or while I was in?
Since you got out.
Since I got out, it seems, I still have contact with some guys that are still in. It's become a lot less. I don't really want to badmouth it, but you talk to Vietnam guys, you talk to World War II guys, they're going to tell you, the generation below them or after them is weak, and they don't have to put up with the stuff that I had to do and this and that. And I don't really want to badmouth it, but it's definitely a different army than I was in. When I was in, you had to shine your shoes, you had to crease your blouse, you had to crease your pants. Like at morning formation, you knew who was showing up and who was a dirtbag. Because if you didn't take care of your stuff, now it's, we're straight out of the dryer on your uniform, you're good to go. And again, I don't want to, I think you get a different environment of people during wartime than you do during peacetime. Not that this is like there's things going on around the world, and there's things going on that that I don't know about, that no one knows about. There's always conflict somewhere. Our troops are always somewhere engaged with someone. But I think just that it's a different breed of person in at that time than there is now. I don't know what else to say. I don't really want to badmouth it, I guess you could say. Like it's still a brotherhood, And to me, anyone, even you sign up for 3 years, you sign up for 6 years, you do 20 years. Like the moment you sign that, and you're basically giving your life away. Like there was a point in time where I had to write my own will. Like, you know how freaking weird that is to write what you want, someone to say about you, because you could die tomorrow, you could die the next day. So anybody that will go through that and put themselves, sign up for that, they automatically have my respect.
I don't have any more questions, so unless you have any personal experiences or stories you want to share, feel free.
Yeah, overall, it was again, it was something that I would I would do again. Well, I don't think without hesitation. But there's certain how do I put this? There's a lot of things that come with it that you have to be prepared for that I wasn't prepared for. Just the toll that it takes on your body. Like, I have plate and screws in my neck. My knees are shot. My back is shot. Like, lugging all that equipment and being a gunner in a Humvee, getting slammed around all the time. Being hit with multiple IEDs. I had an RPG skip off the top of my head. Like, all of these situations, like your body goes through a lot, but not even your body, your mind. And like when we talked about, readjustment, like to me, that's the biggest thing is, you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injuries. I have both, and the wounds you can't see. So it's hard sometimes for other people to understand why I'm home, why I'm retired. Because you see me on good days, they see me when I want to come out of the house or when I can come out of the house. If you spoke to my kids or my wife, like, they would tell you a totally different story. Especially my wife, because she dealt with it a lot when I first came home. But just the stigma that comes with those things, and the ability to, like I said, I did 10 years of therapy, and now I coach football. And you can see a huge difference in my life in the fall when football season is to the other 8 months of the year, because it brings a lot of joy to me, and it brings a lot of the kids bring a new perspective, and just to be able to help them out, and with not just football, but with like life lessons. I try to teach a lot of life lessons that these kids can understand, from my point of view early on, things that I didn't understand until now, being 44 years old and a two-time combat veteran. Like, it's what keeps me going. And any other veteran who's going to watch this or listen to this, like, always reach out for help. Always, tomorrow is a totally different day. Mindsets come and go. There was a lot of times, where I thought about ending it all and wanting it to end. And then I got to the point where I could realize, if I can just make it through the next 5 minutes, if I can make it through the next 10 minutes, if I can make it through the next hour, and eventually those feelings will subside a little bit, and you realize that, tomorrow is a different day. But all of the emotions and the feelings and stuff that come with being a veteran and come with being a combat veteran, and trying to deal with the losses and the situations where you're, they teach you, a combat infantryman, I'm given a weapon, my morale's boosted up, I feel unstoppable. Don't fuck with me. I'm a trained killer guy. That's what I do. I go and I hunt people down for a living. That's what I tell my daughter's boyfriend. That's what I did for her. You don't want to mess with me, guy. But then to be put into situations where you're actually helpless, like, you're helpless. You don't get to choose and decide. It's a lot to deal with, and but overall, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you, doing this for me, and I hope that other people get to see this and get some understanding, or just see that there's other guys out there that are going through the same thing that they went through, and that tomorrow's always another day, man. Tomorrow's always another day.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for your service. No amount of empathy I could give could really relate to any situation that you've been through. And I know it's been a lot on you. And there are help other veterans can get. And I think that was a really nice message.
Yeah, thank you.
that's all I have. So thank you so much for your time once again.
No, thank you.
It's been fun.
Yeah.